Just amazing how fast the news comes at us these days. So you might have been like yesterday. I have these alerts on my phone just so if I can tell if it's anything worth talking about. And the news comes across, and I happen to have a Fox alert happening at the time, but all the major networks were there, and it said, Iran attacks more ships in the Strait of Hormuz. And you might have had the same question I did yesterday. You're like, okay, is this just going to keep on going on and on and on, and they break the ceasefire deal, and then we respond, and then they get some more lunatics in charge of Iran, and then they break the deal again, and I think we got our answer. Nope, it's not going to go on anymore. For all intents and purposes, it's over. This ceasefire is over. Iran has FA'd, as they say, and now they're about to find out if they haven't found out already. Because let me tell you something, and you know this too, because you've been surrounded by the media presence of President Donald Trump now for 1.5 terms. You tell me if you've ever seen him this pissed off, because I haven't. This is a different level. This is a completely different deal. And here's the takeaway and the main thing. We're in it now. Now's not the time for all this debate about, oh, well, we shouldn't have appeased them. We shouldn't have. And then the other side is saying, well, we shouldn't have gotten involved or whatever. That's not, they're going to try to push that all day long in the media today, all week long, or for however long this lasts. That's done. That's not time for us and patriotic Americans to actually get involved with that. That's over. Debate's over. We're in it now. Now's the time to support your country and get everything we want out of this. It's that easy. Or not easy, but simple. And we'll get into it. Thanks for hanging out with me. Appreciate you. Whew. News comes at you fast. Extra Fight of the Wicked Radio live stream. Replay on X and YouTube and Facebook. The full podcast on TikTok as well, and the clips wherever you like to find those. Full audio podcast wherever you like to get those as well. All right, let's get to it. Let's go on a little timeline here. So you might have seen this clip. If not in real time, you saw it later on yesterday afternoon. We're like, oh, great, they broke the deal again. We're responding again. This time it's a little bit different. But this is what the news alert sounded like.
Again, another reported tanker strike in the Strait of Hormuz. We think 2 have been struck. It might be more, but we'll hang on to 2 for the moment. A tanker struck by an unknown projectile trying to transit the Strait of Hormuz. Apparently, another one made a U-turn and turned around. No casualties reported. Vessels are being advised to transit with caution. Meanwhile, from Fox Business, they've obtained audio of an Iranian threatening the ships in the strait, and here is how that sounded in English.
Well, we know how it sounded. You can imagine just how it sounded. But here's the thing, and as luck would have it, or as, I don't know, the way things go these days would have it, President Trump happens to be in you, if you're not an audio listener, but you saw this clip there. You saw him coming down the stairs on a business trip because he's at the big NATO meetings. So he's meeting with NATO while Iran attacks another ship in the Strait of Hormuz and breaks the ceasefire deal. Interesting. You think they were like saber rattling? You think they were trying to show a force? You think they were trying to rattle Trump's cage? How you think that went? Not well. All right, before we get into Trump's response, which is the crux of the entire story here, and this is why this is a different deal these days, let's go to the U.S. response on just this one attack yesterday. Here is General Raisin Kane. Is what he had to say about it.
Destroying Iran's ability to project power outside of its borders. The A-10 Warthog is now in the fight across the southern flank and is hunting and killing fast attack watercraft in the Straits of Hormuz. In addition, AH-64 Apaches have joined the fight on the southern flank, and they continue to work on the southern side, and that includes some of our allies who are using Apaches to handle one-way attack drones.
Interesting. So the Apaches are involved from our side, but we've got our allies involved with this too. More on that in a second when you hear from the NATO guy, the Secretary General, Mark Rutte, because he is fully on board with the U.S. side on this. He's a smart guy, and you can tell he's kind of persuading all the other NATO allies to get on board too, the ones where he can. Now here's the story. President Trump's response to this. Can you imagine? He's at NATO. He's done everything he possibly can. Again, I'll go back to what I said in the beginning. The debate's over. It's not, should we get involved with, should we try to force Iran to give up its nuclear arsenal? Should we try to put a peace deal in place? No, that's done. That's over. That's in the past now. They're going to try to dig this up on CNN today and MSNBC and NBC and ABC. That's over. This is not the time to dig up the debate because the entire game changed yesterday. All of it did. And the president knows that. You listen to his response, and if you're watching this live or on the replay, sorry, audio listeners, you watch his face and his response to this. This is a guy that's been negotiating, loves to negotiate. What do we know about President Trump? He would love to sit down across the table with anybody. Do you remember in the first term, one of the first things he said when he got inaugurated, he said in 2016, and he said, I can't wait to sit down against President Xi of China, and I'm going to go to North Korea. And the whole world press was going, oh, he's going to talk with terrorists. He's going to make deals with them. No, he knows his best advantage is to sit down one-on-one with whoever it is, a world leader, a terrorist regime, a New York Teamster, a construction worker. He doesn't care. He wants to negotiate and loves to negotiate with anybody to make a deal. It was written in 1984. The book was called The Art of the Deal. How this isn't required study for every single American to understand the mindset of this guy, I don't know, but it's all there. He laid it out decades ago. Loves to make a deal. He's never dealt with anything like this. You can see his disappointment. You can see his resolve. You can hear it in his voice. And we're going to take this in pieces because this is going to be one of the most historic clips, you mark my words, that this guy has ever given us. He is done.
Is the ceasefire over? Is the ceasefire done? Is the MOU dead?
It's a very interesting question. To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people.
Now, let's take a break there for a quick second because the people he's talking about are the leaders. He kind of cleared this up later on because let's remember this other element in this entire fact. The Iranian people, the freedom-fighting people who, for example, went to the World Cup and were raising the flag of their original flag before their terrorist regime took over, they're great people, and Trump knows that. He's not talking about them being scum. He's talking about this terrorist regime.
If they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. I'll speak to our negotiators. They want to negotiate. They're good people. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner. But they have to come back to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a waste of time dealing with them. They're liars. We make a deal. And if I make a deal with him, we have a deal. And he goes out, he talks. We make a deal. Everyone's agreed. No nuclear weapon. We make a deal. They go outside, talk to the press. They say, we never even talked about it. There's something wrong with them. They're cuckoo.
Among other reasons why this is an historic clip, one that will be remembered forever. He also threw cuckoo in there. What do you think about the terrorist Iranian regime? They're cuckoo. They're cuckoo for coconuts. But he also talked about this, and you get a sense for how he feels when a deal is broken as well. His word is his bond.
As far as I'm concerned, it's over. That's
not going to change. He also said, and you can kind of get that temperament there, and you're just like me. You've seen a million clips from this guy already. You can get he's very transparent. You can say that. You may not like how he says some things. You may not like that he calls people of other nations cuckoo or whatever it is, but you can tell exactly what it is. When he said, I'll make a deal, they can come back, I'll throw it out to them, they'll make a deal, whatever. He has zero interest in making any more deals. This is coming from the guy that loves making a deal with anybody. But there's something more, and I think this clip is even more revealing in how President Trump feels about this. And this is why I say this game is over. This negotiation is over. All this debate and these mental gymnastics we've all tried to go through over the past 6 months are all over. What are you going to do about Iran? Don't even think about it anymore. Now's the time to throw your support behind whatever decision is happening, because whatever they tried to do with a ceasefire is over. Here he is now. This is a little bit more revealing to me.
After we get through the funeral proceedings, does this mean that talks with Iran will not resume?
I don't care. They can talk, but I think they're wasting their time. They're a bunch of lying guys. I do my whole life. That's all I do is deals. My whole life that's how I became president. I guess that's a deal too, right? But I made a lot of money. I had a lot of great success, tremendous success. Everything I did.
Okay, I'm just going to pause this here before I get back to it, because there's something key in this thing. This is one of the things where the mainstreams and the fake news, they always pick on, he's making this about himself. They'll take a little clip like that and they'll say, he's trying to make money out of the deal. No, that's incorrect. They've always gotten that wrong. When he, kind of randomly, when he rambles, when he goes back to his past business life and his deal-making ability, I've had a lot of success, I've made a lot of money. He's not doing it to brag. Tremendous ego, obviously. He's not doing it to brag. What he's telling you there is, how he is able to make all of these deals and make it all happen. That's what he's talking about here. When he refers back to the business deals he's been able to make and make a lot of money and I do all this, what he's saying is, what he's trying to tell us is, he can talk with anybody and come to some sort of an agreement. This is what he's saying, and it's kind of historic. This is why this clip is so important. It's historic for Trump to say, I did everything I possibly could, and there's nothing else to be done.
Successful. And I deal with these guys, and I say, this is from a different school. They're liars. They're cheats. They're sick people. They've hurt their people. They killed 54,000 people as of now that were protesting. You know, when people say, how come they haven't taken over? They can't take over because they're dead. They killed them. Nobody's going to take over. They have no guns, and the other side has machine guns. And they're killing them. The press doesn't report it. But they're bad people. They're bad people. And frankly, I don't want to waste my time with them. Now, I'll let our wonderful negotiators keep talking if they want, but I don't see it.
For Trump to walk away from any deal whatsoever, that's why it's important. That's why it's done. This is so out of the realm for him to be able to say there's nothing else to be done because he thinks he can always sit down and get something out of the deal if he wanted to. He's the last guy in the world that actually wants to go to war, but we are there now, which should tell us all of this entire thing. Well, we should have gone back to the Obama plan and appeased them and give them cash. Really? This is your answer. This is your answer why that didn't work. It never was going to work and never will work because they're mocking you. That's all they will possibly do. You can't negotiate with terrorists. It's one of the oldest phrases in the world. You're dealing with a terrorist regime in charge of a nuclear arsenal. For now, it's over. All of that debate is over. Now, here's the thing, and this is why it's important, and this kind of where he cleared up calling them, they're cuckoo, they're nuts, they're scum people. This is where he cleared it up, and he's talking about the regime and not the Iranian people, because he spent a good amount of time in that clip there answering that question, talking about the freedom fighters of Iran, those people who just want to live their lives. Iran was a free, developed, intelligent nation before these lunatics took over in 1979. Free people, and they've fought for their freedom ever since, and they're getting murdered. That's a God's honest truth. He has the support of the Iranian people to get rid of them. All we've heard from them is, for the ones that are able to talk, they haven't gone far enough. They need to take them all out. And Trump's response, the U.S. response has been, well, no, let's see if we can negotiate. And if they break the deal, we'll hammer them. Well, now we're hammering them. This is a completely different deal. He's got the support of the Iranian people. He should have the support of the American people as well on this. Now, does he have the support of the other nations? As luck would have it, all of this happens to go down when he's face-to-face with the leaders of NATO. The Secretary General of NATO has been to the White House before. I think it was just within the past month. Mark Rutte, smart guy, because he understands you better get on board with the Trump administration or things aren't going to go well for you. This guy, Secretary General of NATO, is very influential on this, and he happened to be sitting right by President Trump when all of this went down.
Yes, sir. What is your reaction on the recent U.S. attacks on Iran, and why don't you fear that this will overshadow this summit?
Well, I think it was absolutely necessary. Because when you have a ceasefire and Iran is basically violating the ceasefire, and we've seen what happened yesterday with ships being attacked, I think it is totally crucial that the U.S. forcefully reacts.
Got his support. That means you have NATO's support, mostly, but that's a pretty influential guy as well. So you've got the support of the Iranian people. They're like, do it. Just do whatever you have to do. We have to get our country back. If you've got the support of NATO, most of our allies in Europe, got the support of most, maybe, we don't really know, Trump supporters. This is going to be interesting to see how this all breaks down again, and I think it comes down to this. Forget about what you thought about it before, because the game has completely changed. This is a whole new deck of cards that have been dealt on the table. Now it's all or nothing. And in the end result of this, you know what's going to suck? Yeah, these gas prices that we thought were going to go down, right after the 4th of July. Probably not, because that's all based on speculation. Probably not going to happen. But doesn't it go back to what the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said about this whole thing? Short-term pain for long-term gain. I still think it's worth the investment for my kids, grandkids, future generations to have those lunatics taken out and not let them have a nuclear weapon. That's my opinion. You may feel differently. But I'm telling you this, it's different than what you felt before, even 24 hours ago. Because this happened about, what was it in the timeline, 14 hours ago when the world changed? It's on now. So whatever response we have, it's probably our duty to support it and root for the USA, because the debate about going after them or not is completely done. We'll see. I always leave you with a media warning, though. You know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. You know what the headlines are going to be. They're out there already. I just saw some. President Trump inches the U.S. closer to war. You know what to do. You know better. They tried every possible way to negotiate with these lunatics. Now it's different, so let's see what happens. Whew. Like I said, the news comes at you fast. Thanks for hanging out with me. Wicked Radio live stream, a podcast replay, X, YouTube, Facebook, clips on all of those, and TikTok as well, and the audio podcast, complete show wherever you like to get them. Thanks for hanging out. Always pray for the USA. The game is different now. I'll talk to you tomorrow.